I'm going to be presenting the same presentation I did last week in Toronto at the PDAC and the Investor Forum. Maybe if any of you were there, you'll recognize it. The talk is specifically about our San Pietro Copper-Gold-Iron-Cobalt project in Chile. We're looking right now at a picture that's showing our Rincones deposit. That's the area of the main resource estimate that I'm going to be talking about. As I mentioned, this is specifically about San Pietro, but we do have a lot of other things going on in Argentina and portfolio projects, but that will be for another presentation. Now, if I could just figure out how to turn the page. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. There we go. Cautionary notes. I will be making some forward-looking statements. This is just a standard disclaimer, and you've all been warned. Investment highlights. I think when anybody's looking at a project or investment into junior mining, I think the main things that you want to look at are the people behind the projects and the projects. People and projects are what are most important. We've got a team of experienced people under the direction of Joe Grosso since 1993 with a lot of successes to our name. Projects, as I mentioned, I'm going to be talking about our flagship project, our San Pietro project in Chile, which we put out a resource estimate last week or the end of the week before, and we were very happy about that, of 2.5 billion pounds of copper and 770,000 ounces of gold, and that's growing, and we're going to talk about that. And again, as I mentioned, we have an active exploration portfolio of projects in Argentina right now that are either under option, some very interesting deals there, in fact, and a bunch of others that are available if anybody's looking to joint venture. And we got to where we are right now, the value from our success in the past, and again, under part of the Grosso Group. We have a sister company, Blue Sky Uranium, which recently signed a deal with COAM for $35 million earn-in on their project uranium project in Rio Negro. And last year, our other sister project, our company, Argentina Lithium, signed a deal with Stellantis for $90 million in a lithium play in Argentina. And then as part of the Golden Arrow group, we've had some successes. Our one most recent was going back to 2018 when we made a deal with Silver Standard to sell our Chinchilla Silver project. And that gave us money to go shopping for other projects. And we looked around, we spent time in Paraguay, we looked at other projects in Latin America and in Chile, and we ended up coming up with our San Pietro project, which again is our flagship project. It's an IOCG, copper, gold, iron, oxide, and cobalt project in kind of the Mecca area of Argentina for IOCG projects. It's a lot of big mines and things in that area, and it's got all of the things that are popular and needing right now, battery metals and copper, and it's just a really good place to be working. And our project is really in the midst of giants. The dark blue is the San Pietro project, the middle of the screen there that you can see. And we're surrounded by capstone projects. We got the Manto Verde mine immediate to the west, and their project of Sierra Norte to the north, and Santo Domingo, which is part of an integration plan with Manto Verde immediately to the east. Further to the south, we've got Candelaria, and there's some other mines in the area. And as you could imagine, with all of this activity in the area, the infrastructure and everything to mine and develop projects is really second to none. And that actually includes on our property itself. Again, this is a shot of the Rincones target area. Very, very attractive place to be working. We've got a paved highway that runs right through the project, a power line over top of the property, and the Diego del Magro, the little town to support infrastructure, place to stay. I mean, we actually can go in there for lunch. It's only 8 kilometers away. The project itself is an IOCG mineralization project, very similar to the others. There's a lot of similarities between IOCG projects, but there are a lot of differences as well. Mostly these are mineralization in mantos with iron oxide magnetite. They occur in mantos. They can be in structures, and they're very common in this area. This little cartoon on the bottom of the picture here shows an east-west section, and it's very telltale for what we're looking at right now. And on the east, we have the Santo Domingo deposit, which has iron-rich mantos mostly in the Santo Domingo project. And then on the west side, it's much more structurally controlled, and you have some intrusives. But it's you go from this mostly sedimentary type stratigraphic type deposits into something that's much more structured. And San Pietro project that sits right between the middle, we represent a transition zone between the two. And so we actually find that we have mantos deposits and we have structure deposits, and it's just a really good place to be right now. Looking at the at the project area itself, this orange outline in the middle of the project there, that represents our San Pietro area that we have. We have 20,000 hectares of concession, and you can see on the east there, but butted right up against it is Santo Domingo, and to the west, only a kilometer away in the north is Manto Verde. The purple area in the middle, you can see that's the actual footprint of the resource area we've announced, and you can see that I mean it was a very small part of our whole project that we're actually got the resource defined. The little green dots in there are drill holes that have been drilled, and they are concentrated. And our plan was to put out a resource estimate at Rincones and then expand from there. And we did that. We had a fixed program whereby we were going to drill up to 10,000 meters, and at the end of that program, we had to put out a resource estimate, and we fulfilled that. We did the resource estimate is an inferred resource. We drilled that to a maximum spacing that we could and still call it a resource. So it's at a base of about a 200-meter drill spacing. We have some areas that it's tighter, but that still managed us to put out this resource, and we were very happy when we did it. One of the real advantages of having a project that's just finished a feasibility study and an active mine on the other side is that we've got real numbers to use and to compare. And so when we built the model to do the resource estimate, we used all of the same numbers and figures that they used at Santo Domingo, and we calculated an NSR based on the same prices that they had, and then this is what we came up with, and at a grade of at a cutoff grade of zero point 0.3. We got 492 million tons of 0.41 equivalent copper, 0.23 copper, 0.05 grams per ton gold. Cobalt and iron, they represent big opportunities for us, and we have a lot more work to do on the recovery of those. But that gave us 2.5 million pounds of copper and 770,000 ounces of gold. So it's a really good place to be starting from. To put this into maybe a little better context, again, we're looking at the deposits. This is a very active area, and just off to the south of us, there's an area that right now that First Quantum is drilling. To the southwest, you've got Tribeca, another junior, has currently got a drill program going on. They've got activities going on in Santo Domingo and us, but you can see how we all kind of sit in this one area together, and we have a good portion of that property. But if you go to the left here and you look at these numbers, and this is important because one of the questions I was getting about our grades and all this kind of stuff, and it's important to understand that when Santo Domingo put out their numbers, they're dealing with measured and indicated. So they've gone through a definition drilling stage where they've outlined their high grade and stuff, and you can see they've come up with 547 million tons, zero point 0.3 copper and 0.04 grams per ton gold. We came up with a number in the ballpark, 492 million tons, 0.23, and we actually have higher gold on our property. But when we go in here and we do our infill drilling, we will for sure bring up the grade of the copper, and people are going to be surprised at how much more gold we have here than there. That's been a real pleasant surprise. And this is moving forward. We have so many opportunities. Looking here on the right side of the screen, the purple again. This is our Rincones footprint of the resource estimate. You've got the Rincones areas, and then to the south we've got a little area there that's we refer to as Koya, and that's a very high cobalt and iron target. But it still did report to the resource, and the little yellow rectangle, if you look at that, that's the blow up on the left-hand side. And the reason we included this in here is just to show that we have these thick mantos, and you can see through this cross section where we have over 100 meters of 0.43 copper, 0.09 gold, and it runs and it's continuous across the property. And so we've got several of these mantos that make up the higher grade area that we need to define. And again, that'll be part of our follow-up drill program. And the other thing is that in Rincones, as I mentioned earlier, we drill this to we drilled this to a spacing that we would be able to put out an inferred resource, and it was designed to be big, and then understand that we would need to go back in. But in the end, near the end of the program, we were looking at this hole called SP drill hole number 6 here, which is in about middle of the plot. And we stepped out, about 400 meters, and we hit over 300 meters of 0.19. We got another hole there of 122 meters of 0.35, or I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was a big step out, and we drilled 3 more holes in this area, and it allowed to extend our resource back significantly. And we wanted to keep drilling, but we had a commitment to put out the resource estimate. But you can see in the little diagram here on the left, where you've got the little yellow again rectangle where this section has been taken, where we expanded it. And it doesn't take too much imagination to see that we will expand this down into Koya and add significantly to the resource there. And the resource is still open in all directions here. So it's going to get bigger. That would be one of those forward-looking statements. But there's no doubt in my mind that we're just getting going. And that's in Rincones. And in Rincones, we believe that we're going to expand that area. I could go into more detail about some of the things we see structurally and where those are directed. But we've got five other targets. Mariposa and Rodeo, we've done some work. We've done some drilling, and they've got really good intersections. Mostly those are for near surface, low strip ratio oxide. The other projects in the area are looking for oxide. So we know that once we define oxide, that even if, I mean, when we think of future plans in here, we could actually be sending these to other plants. So that's an opportunity. But so we've got these near oxide surface areas just north of Rincones. We've got an area that's it follows absolutely the same high magnetic signature from the geophysics, and it's just a little bit deeper. So we need to investigate that. And the other thing is to the south. This has been a big discovery for this year, and this is our guys that were working on the ground. We discovered this area called Noemi, and got some very good samples, some interesting ground geophysics, and some good samples and mapping. Want to go drilling there, and Lolita Norte to the west. I mean, the big surprise in there was the high gold values, and so we'll be watching. We showed Tribeca just off the side, and First Quantum just off the south are drilling. So it's going to be interesting to see how that ties in. And then we have this whole other area that's, is untested. There's been really no work. There's a lot of cover on there, but we're dealing again with this transition zone between Santo Domingo and Manto Verde. So it's who knows what we're going to find. So that's where we're looking at here. As far as our plan, resource delineation, this is going on right now. We've completed the mineral resource, our inferred resource. We've put that out. We're in the process now of compiling the 43-101. We've got 45 days to submit that. We need to get that in by mid-April. We're working on the results that we have and putting together our next phase of exploration. That's going to include drilling these areas that we see have potential to understand there. To do some more detailed drilling within the Rincones areas and define the higher grade zones and move those towards indicated at least. I mentioned briefly the iron and the cobalt because we had the benefit of closology and all of the information from Santo Domingo. We did not do a metallurgical test program for this estimate, but we will do that in the future, and that represents a real opportunity of value. I believe the number at Santo Domingo is 33% of their value is made up in the iron. So it's definitely something we want to understand. We've been aggressive in our permitting. We've completed the EIA and we've made applications for 80 more platforms. That's in the process, and we expect to have those permits awarded here in the next couple of months. So, we're moving fast. I believe we're just getting started on Santo Domingo. I mean, all of this is going to depend on funding and how we move this forward. With the release of our resource estimate, we've got a lot of options right now that we're considering. We'll see how that all plays out, but that's hopefully going to be the news coming out in the near term. So that's our San Pietro project. As I mentioned, we do have company maker projects in Argentina, and they're worth taking a look at too. You can see those on the website. You can call or send me an email or send one to Sean, and be happy to follow up with you. And that's the presentation for today, and I'm very happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, I'm going to unmute everybody here, and if you have a question, let's just be orderly here. Uh, you should be able to unmute yourself if you have a question.
Oh, must have been very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No. This is Adam Tucker. I've been with you guys a long time, and I just want to know, like, I guess I want to see some light here at the end of the tunnel. I mean, I know we're working on the, um, you know, resource estimates and different things, but I mean, we all know. I mean, we're not really seeing the price action here. I mean, what is it going to take? I mean, how many more years are we going to have to stick this out, to kind of see some return here?
That's a good question, Adam. I'm not sure I have a really good answer for you. I mean, we're doing what we can. I think there's a lot of people that are kind of suffering the same fate as us right now, but it's a very difficult market.
Yeah, and the other thing I have is like, you know, I noticed that a lot of the information there was like the inferred resources. I mean, when do we really believe that we're gonna? I mean, do we have a really good idea of? I guess. I mean, is the idea that we're gonna put all these resource estimates out there, and then we're gonna try to do another joint venture like last time with Silver Standard, or like, what's the game plan? I guess.
Well, the game plan is to keep moving forward. I mean, last year we said this is what we're going to do. We're going to drill 10,000 meters and put out our resource estimate. We did that. We put out a very impressive resource estimate. Now people have to come back, see what's going to happen. We're saying now that we're going to do some infill drilling and test the other areas. We will do that. But as I said, that was all pending on how we move forward with our own financing.
Yeah, that's a good question about financing as well. Well, how do we feel about, financing going forward? I know we don't have a ton of money in the bank. I mean, so is it just going to be, just keep on trying to, get money as needed? Or, I mean, I don't think we have anything major right now. We're looking to cash out for funding, right?
Well, we are going to keep moving forward and doing the best we can. As I said in the end of my presentation, there we're considering several different options. We recently signed a deal with Magote, and we that put another $1 million into our kitty, and we've got some other things that are going on. But we're doing our best and making the best decisions we can.
And
Okay.
Adam, it is a challenging market, and we haven't done any marketing for quite a few years because we're on the hunt for this property, and we had nothing to really promote. So now, as we have an asset like this, our next goal is to try to get some analyst attention, institutional attention, and that's what we're working on now. We had some very good meetings in Toronto. We have, some conversations going on with some of the biggest players in the copper industry. And the market just isn't saying it's time to spend money on marketing, or we would. We've tried a couple things and we got no response whatsoever. We need to see the market improve a little bit before we start spending money on marketing. Marketing is the most expensive. It's as expensive as exploration. If you want to do proper marketing campaigns, they're so expensive. And we just don't have the money to do that right now. And we just don't think we're going to get a lot of benefit from it.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes sense. I mean, with prices the way they are, gold. I mean, no, it's not just gold we're looking at here. You would think, have we had anybody out there that wanted to? I'm not saying that wanted to buy us and then take what we have, but even a major company, a major partner out there, or they want to see more on the resource estimates before they'd be willing to entertain something like that.
Well, again, I said that we're evaluating options, and everybody has their own plan, and we'll see what comes of it. I can tell you this is that prior to us putting out the resource estimate, we had talked to an awful lot of companies, almost every company you can think of, and every single one of them said the same thing: come back to us when you have a resource estimate. So we've put that out a week ago, and we're just, like I said, we're getting going, and we'll see. We'll do our best.
Okay.
Brian, I have
All right. Thank you.
thanks, Adam. Brian, I have a question here confirming that the 43-101 report on the resource is expected for mid-April. Brian?
Yep. Sorry, what's that?
The resource estimate is expected mid-April.
No, the resource estimate is out. That we put the resource estimate out. We need to. You put the resource estimate out, and then we have it. It's a very, very involved process to put together the 43-101 with the QPs and all of the data to validate everything. That has to be filed with the Securities Exchange by the 14th of April, and we're working on that right now.
Okay. And then I have another question here. What is your take on the tariffs on North America copper, i.e., upside being it copper from Chile?
Yeah, that's out of my my expertise. I wish I had answers for all those questions.
No, I understand. But yeah, if anybody else has a question, you can type it in or ask it right now. But we are moving forward.
Yeah. Uh, Hi guys. Thanks a lot for your presentation. It's quite insightful. I just have one little doubt. Is that do you expect in 43-101 the estimate, the actual resource will be same, equal, or will it shrink a little bit? And how is that going to impact the market at that time when you release the 43-101?
This is Juan Carlos.
Yes.
Hello, Juan Carlos.
Hey.
No, this is the official number. This will be the exact same number, and we had to. If you look at the resource estimate that we've put out, we've got all the explanations in there. We've got all of the bases, and we have all the backup for all those. That's what's going to go into the 43-101. The number we have put out there is the official number, and that's not going to change and can't change until we put out another 43-101 in the future.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brian.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and just to let everyone know, we were at the PDAC. I stood at that booth for 4 days, and I never had one retail investor come by our booth. Just to give you an idea of the. Usually they're lined up talking to us. I've had pamphlets there, not one pamphlet was taken. It just shows you the state of our market right now. But a lot of institutional action, a lot of deals being made. So behind the scenes, there's a lot going on in these companies. It's just not being reflected in the share price right now. And if you look around you, everything's been mined. The world needs more mines, especially copper mines. There's also a supply deficit in copper industry now, and bringing copper mines online are 10 or 20 years. So we're going to be in good position going forward. It's going to take a little more patience before the market improves, but we have a great project here that's going to get recognized down the road. Any other questions? Then we'll wrap it up here, Brian. Thank you for your time, everyone, and you can contact me anytime at all if you have questions. Have a good day, and we appreciate your attendance.
Thank you, everybody.